Welcome to r/slash Entitled Parents, where a Karen gets hit with a taser. Our next Reddit post is from This Requires a Burner. And for context on this next story, this was written during the height of quarantine. We were at the dreaded big box store picking up potting soil because we're gonna DIY ourselves through the isolation. Things aren't too crazy here yet, but there's a 2 per customer limit on the majority of items. I assume this means everything, so we get 2 bags each of a few different types of soil. My husband is loading the last of 8 bags on our cart when I hear her. I know it's a Karen just by the level of unnecessary outrage in her voice.
Are you kidding me? You can't buy that many. You're hoarding.
My husband said, "Yeah, we can. We're getting 2 each."
Oh, you don't fool me. I know what you're doing.
So do I. F off. Well, Karen huffed at that, spun around, and yanked her kid back inside to go complain to the employee working the register nearby. Now, we had already paid for our items. The employee had come out and scanned the bags earlier, and he could easily see our cart from inside. So, being finished, we pushed the cart out of the garden center into the parking lot. And then the automatic doors open behind us, and I hear,
"Now they're stealing."
Oh, great. We load the soil in the car, and we turn around to bring the cart back and look at plants. By the time we get back, Karen has given up on trying to convince the employee that we're the Bonnie of Clyde and dirt and is now trying to negotiate skipping somebody in line. She has a child, you see, and her handbasket, well, it's just so full and heavy.
Could she please just scooch right on in here real quick? It'll just be an extra second. She swears.
The woman that Karen is trying to skip in front of is young, maybe college age, and wearing a face mask. Not a medical mask, but the sketchy kind that you would wear while riding a motorcycle or when you're skiing. Her mask was black and has like scary wolf teeth on it that honestly made the girl look like somebody that you shouldn't mess with, even though she was just wearing a Gap t-shirt and flip-flops. Mask girl was just shaking her head no, and that's all I got as we dropped off the cart. I browse, pick up a couple of plants, and we head inside to wait in line. Now it's showtime. Karen and Mask Girl are near the register facing off. From the looks of things, Mask Girl finished her purchase and Karen stopped her before she could leave. I don't know if Karen grabbed her or anything, but Karen was still holding her full handbasket, so she hadn't checked out yet. Karen was saying,
"But you don't even need it now. You're leaving. My son could get sick because you won't give it to him, and he needs it."
Mask Girl said, "Hell no, you can't have it. Back off, lady."
"But my son really likes your mask, and it's obviously made for boys anyway. Why would you even want to wear something so scary?"
"Because I like it, and it has my germs on it. Why would you put a stranger's mask on your kid?"
Ugh, why are you being so rude? You wouldn't let us go through the checkout first, and now you're making my son very upset.
That's your problem, not mine. And then, when Mask Girl turns to leave, Karen grabs the Mask Girl by the back of her mask. When all of this is going down, we're all just standing in line and watching. The register is still going boop, 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 as the employee scans items. But otherwise, we're all just inside this hypnotic bubble. But when Karen reached out towards Mask Girl, it was like the bubble popped and made everything crystal clear. Not like slow motion or anything, but I absolutely felt hyper aware, like Spider-Man. As Karen reaches out, the people next to me in line gasp. Karen grabs the mask and yanks. The lady on my right yells, and my husband steps forward. Mask Girl tucks her head down and turns towards Karen, looking pissed off. I think Karen was going to say something like, "Don't walk away from me," but all she got out was, "Don't." Suddenly, I see Karen spasm and drop to the floor writhing. Mask Girl had an effing taser. I don't know when she pulled it out, this tiny little flashlight looking thing, but she laid Karen out with it. Suddenly, it's effing chaos. A security guard shows up, more employees show up, and Mask Girl is chilling like she's been through this before and knows what comes next. Karen is screaming that the girl killed his mom, even though Karen is groaning and sobbing on the floor, and clearly not dead, though maybe wishing that she was. The people who had been in line with us were all talking at once, trying to tell the security guard what happened. We hung around just witnessing the insanity for maybe 2 minutes before Karen started choking out demands for an ambulance, cops, and a lawyer. At that point, we just put our plans back on the shelf and got the F out of there. We drove home in silence until my husband parked the car in our driveway, and then we just burst out laughing. Neither of us have ever seen anything like that before. We live in a small beach town, so people are super laid back and mellow. Karen was anything but, and I hope to never see her again. Our next Reddit post is from Rainbow Baby. My husband and I are finally expecting our rainbow baby after years of infertility and multiple miscarriages. It's safe to say that we and our family are very freaking excited. My mother is probably the most excited. She's been planning our baby shower and making decorations for months. She's been the biggest help during this exciting yet scary pregnancy. A few weeks ago, my aunt told my mother that my cousin is pregnant. We're very happy for her. However, my aunt said their plan is to announce her pregnancy at my baby shower since we're having a big party anyways. She said that it's not a big deal and we can both share the day. I said absolutely not, because we've been waiting for this day forever and it should be all about me and my rainbow baby. My mother is on my side and told my aunt they had better not announce anything at the party. My aunt dropped it and nothing else was ever said. Last Saturday was my baby shower. It was everything that I've waited for. Everything's going fine and no one has announced my cousin's pregnancy. When it was time for us to eat cake, my aunt said, hold on everyone," and went outside to her car to grab something. That was the moment that I knew something was up. My mother and I follow her outside, and my aunt decided to bring a cake announcing my cousin's pregnancy as well as some presents for my cousin. My mother immediately told my aunt that she will not be bringing those back into the rec center and they will not be ruining my day. My aunt started throwing a fit, screaming, "This is a baby shower. It's for babies. Your cousin is having a baby too, so this day is about her." My cousin now joins the screaming, saying how she's pissed off that everything is always about me and why do we always have to be happy for me? They wouldn't stop screaming, so they were kicked out by the rec center security, and half our family was upset that I wouldn't let her have a moment at my shower, so they left too. Now everyone is bashing my mother, myself, and my rainbow baby on Facebook, as well as our group family texts. Anything really. Man, I don't even get it. If you're so upset about things always being about OP, then why would you want to share her party? Why not have your own party where everything can be about the cousin instead of OP, right? My guess, and this is just a guess, is that aunt and cousin don't want to pay for a second party. Our next Reddit post is from Menager. My mom used to lock me out of my room because of bad grades that she caused. I don't know if this belongs here, but I want to get it off my chest. My family lived in the Santa Cruz Mountains at the time, so there wasn't really anywhere for me to go. You might be thinking it was some cheap lock that you could bypass somehow, but this was a heavy-duty fingerprint scanner that you would find in a bank. I would have to effing ask if I wanted to sleep. This happened from when I was 14 to 16, and it was one of the last straws to me living in the same household as my mother. The reason why is even worse. My brothers and I got Chromebooks from the school. You know, for homework. My crazy mother decides she needs to take them away and lock us out of the internet. Since we couldn't do homework at all, our grades tanked. The school and most of our teachers mentioned it to my mother constantly, and she thought that she knew better than the entire effing school. Go figure, she's an anti-vaxxer to boot. Did I mention that she locked us out of the house too? I would get home at 4 to 5 p.m. and be stuck outside waiting for her to get back for 3 hours. This was a regular thing. Her treatment of me has left me with boundary issues to this day, and it's been 5 years since then. Man, OP, you got locked out of your own house for 3 hours with no supervision whatsoever. This is like a child kidnapper's dream come true. Our next Reddit post is from Sunny KL. So I just moved to the area, and I should have suspected something was wrong when, right upon move-in, my neighbor was on my doorstep asking if I babysat. Yeah, so turns out there was a shortage of teenage girls in the area who wanted babysitting money. This was country club territory, and the majority of teenage girls didn't work. The entitled mother was thrilled to find out that I babysat and scheduled herself a date night that weekend. She agreed to my rates, and I was happy to have a customer so quickly in my new town. Briefly happy, anyway. Karen's kid, who I'll call Hellspawn, was the kind of kid who liked to pull the wings off of insects. I should probably Google him to see if he's committed a felony recently. He was beyond unruly. He hurled his dinner at me because I wouldn't give him cookies. He kicked and hit me over me insisting that he had to put on pajamas. He threw an absolute screaming tantrum on the floor when it was bedtime because he wanted to stay up and play video games. He was an overall nightmare, and it was blindingly obvious that he was used to these tactics actually working. I survived the night, but by the time the entitled mother got home, the Hellspawn hadn't finished having his bedtime tantrum on the living room floor. I was neither capable nor interested in trying to physically force a kicking, screaming kid into bed. He even threatened to bite me. So there he wailed and pounded on the carpet. I figured that he would either exhaust himself eventually or the entitled mother could deal with what she spawned. And by the way, as an 8-year-old, he was way too old for that behavior. Well, I learned where he picked up that behavior. As soon as the entitled mother got in the door, she threw a screaming fit at me that Hellspawn wasn't in bed. When she got done yelling at me, she refused to pay. Apparently, I didn't deserve to be paid because I hadn't successfully gotten Hellspawn to bed on time. She asked me why she hired a babysitter if she still had to do all the work. She said that she deserved a break from Hellspawn's bedtime antics. I was decidedly unamused by her not paying, but she wouldn't budge. So I took the remote control for her television hostage and went home. Then I told everybody I met what she'd done. And unsurprisingly, this entitled mother had a history of refusing to pay contractors, house cleaners, and babysitters. She had a lien on her house and everything. Given that there were fewer babysitters than babysitter jobs in the area, she didn't have a lot of luck hiring a babysitter again. She did eventually come for the remote and pay up. But then the damn fool tried to hire me again. Not a chance. OP, taking the remote control as hostage is pure genius. Our next Reddit post is from a mission of the Omen. This happened yesterday, and while there were no cops or fights, it was definitely an entitled parent moment. We moved into our new house 3 weeks ago. It has a lovely backyard that backs onto a public walking path with a 4-foot chain link fence. There's a gate from the yard onto the path, which is required by the city. The yard also has an oddity, an in-ground trampoline. Yes, you read that right. Someone had professionally installed a gymnastic-style trampoline on the ground level. We're in the process of having this removed because A, it's stupid, and B, the trampoline has been exposed to 15 years of Canadian winter, and I doubt that it's safe. Yesterday, I was in the kitchen when I heard the sounds of springs bouncing. I thought this was odd since none of the yards near me have trampolines. I look out the window and there's a preschool-aged kid bouncing on my trampoline while the mom stands on the pathway and watches. I come flying out of the house and this is the exchange that occurred. Excuse me, you can't use this trampoline. It's private.
Yes, I can. This is my friend's house. Who are you?
If this was your friend's house, you would know that she moved out a month ago. This is my house now, and you don't have permission. The mom, starting to look huffy.
She said that we could keep using it.
That's not up to her. It's up to me. It's unsafe, and you can't use it.
It's not your house. It's your dad's. I've seen him.
Okay, so clearly this woman lives nearby somewhere. You mean my husband? I can assure you I do own it, and if you'd like, I can call the cops and they can sort this out for us. This entire exchange occurred while my dogs were going insane inside the house because they could see someone strange in their yard. And these are not small dogs. The mom steps into the yard, picks up her kid from the trampoline, and then steps back to the pathway.
Your dogs are monsters.
I'm gonna open the door and let them out so you can find out. The mom took off down the path with her confused-looking kid. I put a zip tie on the gate so it can't be opened, and I'll be finding a company this week to take down the trampoline and fill the pit of despair underneath it. That was r/Entitledparents, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.